Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into La Visita, a truly beautiful poem by Margarita Engle. It tells this incredible story about family, culture, and love, and it's all tied together by just a single simple thread.
So how does love bridge any distance? Well, this poem, La Visita, gives us a really profound answer. And, it suggests that the real power of love isn't in some big, grand gesture. It's actually in something a lot quieter, a lot more personal, like a grandmother's visit.
So the poem kicks off with a feeling that, honestly, I think a lot of us can relate to. You know that feeling? That almost magical moment when someone you love arrives from really far away and suddenly everything else just kind of fades?
And this first line, wow, it just sets the tone perfectly. It's not just that time slows down, right? It's more than that. It's about a bond that's so powerful it literally creates its own little private world, where, for that moment, nothing else matters at all.
So the poem is all about Abuelita, which, of course, is the Spanish word for grandmother. And this Abuelita, she's visiting from Cuba. She's not just bringing luggage, she's bringing her whole world, her history, a little piece of her home, all the way to her granddaughter in America.
So the big question is, how do these two connect so deeply when they're separated by a whole generation and, a whole lot of geography? Well, the poem shows us their bond through this one really powerful central symbol. I mean, they really do represent two completely different worlds. It's like they're a living bridge in that whole immigrant story. You've got Abuelita, who's all about tradition and her Cuban roots, and then there's the granddaughter, representing this new, modern life in America. And the real magic of this visit is how they find this one shared activity to literally weave their two worlds together.
It's so simple, really. They just sit together, they share stories, and they embroider. And that simple act, just stitching colorful thread onto a piece of cloth, that becomes the core metaphor for their whole relationship. It's literally how they build their bond, both physically and emotionally.
So you see, the embroidery ends up being so much more than just a hobby, right? Every single stitch is like a shared story, or a piece of advice, or even just a quiet laugh between them. It becomes this physical act of passing down heritage from one generation to the next, weaving their lives together into one beautiful piece of art. But here's the thing. The granddaughter is still learning how to do this. Her stitches, they're not exactly perfect. And it's right here, in how her grandmother reacts to this imperfection, that we find the real emotional heart of the whole poem. So instead of, criticizing the clumsy stitches, Abuelita just responds with this pure, genuine warmth. She completely looks past all the technical mistakes and just sees the love and the effort that's woven into every single one of those stitches.
Perfecto. That's what she says, the Spanish word for perfect. And that one word, wow, it carries so much weight. It's not about the sewing. It's this declaration of acceptance, of pride, of just unconditional love.
You see, Abuelita is teaching this really deep lesson without having to spell it out. She's showing her that in love, real perfection has nothing to do with a flawless result. It's all in the effort, the intention, the connection. That's what's perfect.
Okay, so let's get to the poem's beautiful ending, because this is where it all builds to this bigger universal message about love and the distances that we all face in our own lives. And here it is. This is the poem's final, just stunning metaphor. It takes that whole idea of embroidery out of the living room and blows it up to describe their entire relationship, stretching across continents.
And this garden they talk about, it's not a real place you can walk in. It's the emotional landscape they've built together. It's this imagined space that just represents how incredibly close they are, and it doesn't matter one bit how many miles are actually between them.
And that, right there, is the poem's ultimate message. Their bond is like this huge, beautiful embroidery, stitched together by every single visit, every story, every shared moment. It's a connection that becomes so strong that physical distance, it just becomes totally irrelevant.
So after all that, what's the lasting takeaway from La Visita? What does this incredible story, told completely in thread, really leave us with?
Well, the core message is actually as simple as it is powerful. It's that the threads of love and understanding and those shared moments, they are more than strong enough to connect us. It doesn't matter how many miles or how many years might lie between us.
And that really leaves us with a final thought, doesn't it? The poem is kind of inviting us to look at our own lives and think about the simple, powerful, and sometimes imperfect ways that we build our own bonds. It makes you ask yourself, what are the threads that hold you and the people you love together?